showing a gameplay of GINKGO, and we are talking to the producer, Milo Smiley. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. My name's Milo Smiley. I'm a game writer and producer, and a senior studying game design at the University of Southern California right now. Some of my work outside of the game we're playing today includes writing for Spider-Man Miles Morales last year.
Amazing. Yeah, that was just released like a few days ago, which is super awesome. I'm very excited to play that myself whenever the PlayStation 5 comes out because I love Spider-Verse. But definitely, since we're both here, we have many things in common, but specifically we're here because we're trans game design students, and we both go to USC. So I wanted to ask you, let's start with the game.
Yeah.
How is the game process? How did it feel working on a advanced game project with USC? Because it's a beautiful
Um,
game.
Thank you. Honestly, I had a really positive experience that I can attribute largely to the people who I got to work with. GINKGO is a game inspired by Asian horror and a lot of Asian media, and the
Yeah,
majority of our team was Asian devs and like people of color. So it's very cool to be in that environment where it's just like we were able to draw from really personal experiences and just have like a sort of sense of universal commonality going into the game.
definitely, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
I think the Asian horror aspect is really unique because I don't see a lot of games often doing that. It's a lot of American horror mostly. um,
Yeah.
but going into being a game design student at USC, how's that going? I know you're in your last year, like me.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think it's going well, or I hope so, because I graduate this December. Um, I've had a really positive experience. I came to USC honestly having no formal experience with game design. I sort of just had like I knew I wanted to do game design, and I kind of knew how to code, and I had ideas for games. And being at USC the past 3 years, I've been able to like work with a lot of very cool people on a lot of different games to kind of build up an entire portfolio, which has been really nice. And of course, since USC is in downtown Los Angeles, it's kind of really helped like job hunting just because I'm able to like maybe I can see the studio from the outside in person, or somebody who I talk to has a friend who knows somebody at that studio. Like just being in the middle of where a lot of current game dev culture is happening
Oh
has been
yeah,
really helpful.
I agree. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I and then of course we both are trans, and that's another thing
Mhm.
I definitely think we should go into. How was
Mhm.
USC with coming out? Because you mentioned, well, you didn't mention here, but I know that you came out while you were at USC, and so did I. So how was that
Mhm.
for you?
Oh yeah, I came out my sophomore year at USC, and I think that's when I really started to transition.
Hmm.
Um, it was a really positive reception, in especially from other students in the games department. It's really interesting. I found like a lot of game devs, especially in USC games, are like trans or just like other LGBT identities, which I wonder if it has like a connection with how games offer like escapism and like the chance to live another life and like being like a marginalized identity. So
Definitely.
that was really helpful. USC itself actually has like a surprising amount of resources for their like trans students. Some of them are easier to reach than others for sure, but
Hmm.
like everything's there as long as you look hard enough.
Oh,
Like
that's
I was able
definitely.
to get on hormones through USC and also like change my name on my USC ID free of charge.
I know it's amazing actually. I would
Mhm.
say I was actually very surprised how open it was to gender expansive people in general. I mean, there's like neutral gender bathrooms and everything, and then of course the specific housing with just gender neutral housing. That's the term. Um, but yeah, so what? So definitely being a game designer and being trans are two different aspects that are very important to you. But how
Mhm.
do you feel about going into the industry as who you are, especially as a person of color, even, you know?
Mhm. I would definitely say that I feel like trans folks are underrepresented in the industry, just like a lot of minority identities. But I would say that like I feel like even though I am like a trans person of color, I do have like a fair amount of privilege going in, especially being like a trans man. like it's a little easier for us to like socially transition and sort of like pass as cis in society, which I feel like is a big privilege that like we need to recognize for ourselves. And it's also like I feel like the treatment of like men in the game industry, like my treatment after I came out and started to transition definitely differs from how I was treated beforehand as a developer.
Yeah, it's definitely I say the game design industry is definitely like male, mostly male, which
Mhm,
definitely should change over time, and it will. Um,
mhm,
but I can agree. Yeah, and you've done a few internships, definitely like the Spider-Man uh, internship. But how is
mhm.
that, especially working with people in the industry and interacting with them as a trans person?
I had a really good experience, honestly. Working with Insomniac, everyone there was very accepting and kind and like very sweet to talk to. I never felt like afraid to talk to someone being who I was, which I'm really thankful for. I would definitely say like even though I'm a trans man, I don't have like the same privilege as like or experience that a cis person does, and I feel like that really needs to be like recognized more in the industry. Like we need to be having more trans devs, like not only writing trans experiences, but also like having their voices in a room, especially because like we have such a unique experience that I feel like most of society would not have in their lifetime.
Definitely. I'm watching the gameplay and it's ironically it's getting horror like, whereas we're talking about very casual things and this is
Yeah.
horrific. Was making this game really really fun for you, especially being a
I
boy?
have Yeah, I had a lovely time. I'm
Amazing.
very easily afraid of horror, so it was a little hard to play test that part, especially
Oh, I
just
bet.
because it's like you're getting chased by like this giant monster, and it's kind of like Outlast, where you're just totally helpless to anything this monster can do. Like all you can do is run. I'm seeing chat. Yes, GINKGO is the name of the game. So
Yes.
like what you can do is run away and sort of slow it down. But yeah, I had a really good time working on this game and like drawing a lot of inspiration, not only from like horror games, but from just like horror media in general.
Yeah. Which, by the way, whoever moderator in chat, feel free to put the link for Ginkgo because anyone can play it. And I
Okay,
definitely suggest playing it. It's a beautiful game.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're released right now on itch, and we're publishing to Steam with some Steam exclusives this coming Friday, actually, June
Oh,
26th.
spicy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely this is a beautiful, beautiful game. I cannot like I remember it coming out from the AGP list and I was like, wait, this is an AGP game? I thought it was like a AAA game almost. It's so well done. Um,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Thank you. Our art team. They're all like absolute rock stars, honestly.
yeah. But I I definitely think that it's really interesting having this like shared experience because I came in as a transfer student to game design, and so I didn't really know many of the game design students. And whenever I met like several of them and I realized how gender expansive they were, I was like, "Whoa, this is amazing! This is exactly what I wanted when I came." And definitely meeting you helped encourage me to come out and understand myself better. Oh jeez, poor game. But but yeah, I and I really appreciate that I had friends like you to talk to and share an experience with.
Of course, yeah. It really warms my heart to hear that I was able to provide that for you because I definitely had people too that I really like looked up to when I was first coming out and like looked to for guidance. And I would definitely say they were really pivotal in helping me like become more comfortable with my identity and sort of like more accepting of who I am. Hmm.
Definitely. Um, Now, would you say out of all the industries, is game design probably the most accepting of LGBTQ plus people?
Um,
That's a hard
Honestly,
question.
yeah, it's hard to say just because the most experience I've had has been in like this industry. I've definitely like I think there's going to be queer people and trans people in every single entertainment industry. Like I feel like media and its ability to allow you to like experience other lives and sort of escape from your own life is just something like inherently like trans, I would say,
Hmm.
queer and trans, which I think is what attracts us to. Um, but I would say that overall, I have had a very positive experience with coming out and being trans in the game industry, while at the same time recognizing that like a lot of that positivity comes from a lot of the privilege I've had to be able to pursue really specific opportunities and be around some really accepting people.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely. I also, I also think what was it? Oh, I also think that character creation was a really big aspect for me when it came
Mm-hmm.
to figuring out stuff. And by the way, the low frame rate is normal. I'm sorry for anyone who's getting low frame rate. It's the lag. Um, but was there a specific game that really vibed with you when you were younger that helped you kind of understand yourself?
Yeah, I loved the Fire Emblem games, honestly. I loved Fire Emblem because it was like it had a very what's the word? A very detailed character creator that was at the same time like not overly difficult to understand as a child. And I
Hmm.
just remember like I would always choose like a different name for myself because I was like, this doesn't really look like me anyways. Haha. What if I try a different name instead of my own?
Yeah.
And that was like really helpful, which I like really liked. And I also really liked the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games
Ooh.
because they sort of assigned you a Pokemon based on like who you were, and like your personality, as opposed to trying to get you to match physical characteristics, which made me feel like even closer to my character than I would have normally.
Definitely, yeah. But then
Mhm.
again, in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I always ended up with Skitty, and I was like, no, I'm not a pink kitty.
No, I yeah, I definitely had to redo mine in later years, like one or two times, because I was like, I really wanted Shinx. I think is what I wanted, just because it has cool evolutions.
Yeah, Shinx is adorable. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I think for me it was I think Pokemon was a really nice escape for me. I I will admit I always found girls to be really cute compared to boys, so I was like, I'll just be one because it's cute. It's way cuter. But then I was always like, but I really don't feel like this person.
But it's still
um,
like having that autonomy over
yeah.
like getting a choice. I feel is
Um,
important.
yeah, we're coming to the end of the video, and definitely make sure to check out the game. Um, but continuing on with anything related to just us being a part of this community and all that, is there any suggestions you have maybe for someone who is a part of the game design industry and or just part of the LGBTQ plus community, who, and you might have like advice for like how to one come out or how to get into games. I don't know. Very general
Mhm.
advice.
Absolutely, yeah. As for like game dev in general, and honestly, like questioning your gender, I would just say like don't be afraid to just like dive in and explore. Obviously, you don't need to know everything at once, but like as long as you're like learning a little more about yourself or about game dev every single day, I feel like that is like a really not only sustainable way to like learn new things, but
Hmm.
also it's one that'll be like really enriching and not overwhelming. There's definitely communities out there for everyone. So I really don't want anybody to feel like they're alone. Like I thought I was very alone when I was first coming out, but I was able to find like a lot of people who had very similar experiences to me, like you, of course, and like so many other people in USC games and outside of USC. And I felt like so hopeless when I was first coming out because I thought there would be nobody else who understood me, but like there definitely was, and they like all definitely changed my life. So I encourage you to like just try to find your community, even if try to find a community, even if like you don't know exactly who you are, and maybe start like exploring things about yourself. If you like want to know yourself better, don't be afraid to take that leap, even if it's just a tiny leap.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like honestly, with the whole character creation bit, don't be afraid to make a character that's a little bit different and,
Yeah.
try out
Even
something
if it's
new.
something as small as that. Like I feel like I first started transitioning like when I tried on like a men's jacket in a store, and like that was what like kicked things off for me. Even if I didn't like go back to explore it for many years later, like that's what like planted the seed in my head. And I'm
Yeah,
like so grateful for myself that I just took that leap to try something.
definitely. I agree. Yeah, how long is the game, someone asks? I'm going into the questions really quick.
Oh yeah, so this game, I think the fastest run through I've seen is about 15 minutes, but it'll vary from 15 to 25 minutes overall.
Amazing, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, any, I don't know, any last words? We are holding the fort down as we wait for our next segment. Um, but
um, yeah.
definitely make sure to go check out Milo on his Twitter and his website. Um, he is a super great game dev. He's worked on so many amazing games, and I honestly, you're a really great friend, and I really appreciate you being, you know, one helping me out, helping me understand myself, but also helping me. I don't know, just being a really great person in general and a great game dev. Um,
Oh my gosh, I'm like, there's no face cam, but I'm smiling so hard right now. You're so sweet, Lance. I'm so happy to have you in my life.
oh,
Um, oh my gosh,
real wholesome moment right here.
my heart is full now.
uh, yeah. Any last words? We're gonna wrap up right after this, and then we're going to be moving on to the next segment.
Absolutely, yeah. I would like to say thank you so much for having me. Definitely check out Ginkgo. I know we didn't talk about it that much, but my team has worked really, really hard on it. We've been working since early 2019 on this, and usually I'm a little critical of my work, but I really do think that this game is something special.
Yeah.
And happy Pride,
Happy
everyone.
Pride. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, no matter who you are, appreciate, Pride Month. It's great.